Hey, it's Sarah Lewis, aka the Uncool Trainer, and I am going to be bringing you 5 ways to lose weight without dieting. So if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know I am anti-dieting and I'm more in favor of creating just small, sustainable changes. That means you don't have to diet for the rest of your life or do the diet roller coaster of wanting to lose weight, then losing that weight of 10 or 20 pounds and then slowly gaining it back and then being right back where you started. So I'm going to be sharing 5 ways to lose weight without dieting. Number 1 is to eat smaller portions. And I realize that's a no-brainer, but I am called the Uncool Trainer for a reason. Any diet you go on will have you eating less calories. That's how you lose weight. You have to eat less calories to lose weight. And you can do that by eating smaller portions. So to go along with this tip, I have 2 ideas for you. One is to use a smaller plate, so you're filling up your plate, but actually putting a less amount of food on the plate because it's smaller. Or 2, to start measuring or looking at your serving sizes. Any boxed product or bagged product will likely have a serving size on the package. And I want you to pay attention to, are you actually eating that serving? Let's take rice, for example. Rice is about 1/2 cup as 1 serving. So that's, not much. Like maybe about your palm size is 1/2 cup of rice. It's not a whole lot. So I want you to start paying attention to the serving that you're putting on your plate, no matter what the plate size is. Make sure you're actually only getting 1 serving of each item that you're taking for your meal. Okay, it's really easy to just, if you've made a pot of rice or a pot of anything really, to just start dipping it out and filling up your plate and not paying attention to how much you're putting on your plate. So that is your tip number 1, is to really pay attention to serving sizes. You may need to measure or at least pay attention to what the box or bag is calling a serving. Tip number 2 is to avoid licks, extra sips, extra bites, little handfuls of things throughout the day. If you catch yourself saying, oh, I'll just have 1 cookie, or I'll just finish what's on my child's plate that they didn't finish, or just a handful of nuts, just this. If you're just using that word and justifying all these little extra bites and sips that you take throughout the day, those calories are going to add up. And you can undo a day's worth of healthy eating by adding just simply 200 calories of extra sips of wine, having an extra piece of chocolate, rather than stopping at 1. If that is a daily habit of yours, if you can focus on cutting out all those little extra things that go into your mouth that you don't account for, well, it was only 20 calories, start paying attention to that and you can start to lose weight, because again, you're cutting out calories, and that is the point of losing weight without dieting, right? Just cutting calories. So that is your tip number 2, is to avoid those extra licks and zips and bites of things and extra handfuls that you don't even necessarily record. Like if you're recording in MyFitnessPal or whatever it may be, that it was only 25 calories, so I'm not even going to bother, okay? Those will catch up to you, so pay attention to that. Tip number 3 is to aim to reduce fat and not carbohydrates. It's very popular these days with the keto trend and other diets to eliminate carbohydrates. However, fat has more calories per gram than carbohydrates. Fat has 9 calories per gram, and carbs have 4 calories per gram. So fat has double the amount of calories than carbohydrates. If you cut down on fat, it will be much more calorie cutting than if you cut out carbs. Now, of course, cutting out carbs works because you're cutting calories. However, is that really sustainable for the rest of your life? Can you really go the rest of your life without ever having carbs? Think about that for a second. That means never having birthday cake again for the rest of your life. Like, how are you going to celebrate with your family for the rest of your life? You're never going to have a piece of birthday cake. It just is so extreme that it's not sustainable. But you can start cutting down on fat and still cutting out just as many calories, if not more, than the carbohydrates. So paying attention to your fat sources like salad dressing, that is a big one. When you're trying to lose weight, typically a lot of salads come into play, right? Because you're trying to eat healthy and the vegetables, and salads, for the most part, are low calorie. But if you're piling on the dressing, then you're piling on the fat as well. If you're piling on like cheese and bacon and hard-boiled eggs, all of those things are fat, not protein. It's a common misconception to think that eggs and cheese are like a good source of protein, but they have just as much fat, if not more, than protein, okay? So when you make a salad, yes, have protein on it, but make it chicken or salmon or shrimp, something along those lines. So pay attention to your salad dressing. If you do oil and vinegar, you can buy like separate flavored oils or flavored vinegar and put on more vinegar than oil. And buy the lower fat dressings if you just buy store-bought kind. And again, pay attention to where fat can really add up. Again, it's the cheese that we justify as protein. It's the nuts, again, that we justify as protein. Eggs. Eggs have 6 grams of fat in one egg and 6 grams of protein. So they're like just as much a fat source as they are a protein source. And that's not, 6 grams of protein is not high in protein, guys. So if you love eggs, I don't want to take them away from you because I am not about restricting things that you like. Pay attention to the yolks. All the fat is in the yolk of an egg. So if you really want a hard-boiled egg, just like, let's say you have 2 hard-boiled eggs on a salad or 2 eggs for breakfast, take the yolk out of 1 so that you're not getting 12 grams of fat, you're only getting 6. Or just take the yolks out entirely and then you have a straight up protein source, okay? Avocados are another one that's a fat source. So just pay attention to your fat, and cutting down on that can make a big difference in losing weight. Tip number 4 is to stop the weekend binging. When you're trying to lose weight, it's typical that you are so good throughout the week. Like, you eat your salads, you don't have anything to eat past 8 o'clock at night, you skip dessert, you do all the right things to lose weight, and then on the weekends, you lose your mind. You eat all the things, you drink all the wine, and you just go a little bit crazy and binge on the weekend because you were good all week. So I think to stop binging on the weekends, it's more about not restricting what you're doing during the week. Now, of course, you have to put some effort into it, but don't restrict yourself so much, like saying, I just can't have any chocolate this week, or I just can't have even a slice of pizza this week. But then going kind of crazy on the weekend undoes your week. You can just consume so many calories that all the negative calorie count you got throughout the week goes out the window. And that I hear that so often from people is that, well, I'm eating right, I'm exercising, but I'm not losing weight. Well, I guarantee you're making up those calories somewhere. And typically it can be on the weekends or if you go out to eat. Okay, so pay attention to what you're doing on the weekends, those extra glasses of wine, whatever it may be, really do add up and can really stall your progress. So again, that's tip number 4, is to watch what you're doing on the weekends and making sure you're not going binge crazy. Tip number 5, the 5th recommendation I have to lose weight without dieting is to find someone who can help you be successful. Getting an accountability partner. So that can come in a few ways. That can come from friends who also want to lose weight and are on board with you going for a walk instead of going out for a drink. Or it can come in the form of a coach, like me, who can help you navigate these things, and we can dial in and focus on one thing that will double down on and will help you lose weight. Again, because we want these to be sustainable changes that you can sustain for the rest of your life. We don't want to be talking about these same things 1 year from now, right? So I am the Uncool Trainer, and these are very basic tips. But that's the thing about dieting, is that we try and look for these challenging solutions to weight loss. Well, there must be something out there that I haven't tried that's going to work. But really, we haven't mastered the basics at all. So let's just call these 5 tips the Uncool diet. All right, so we can put a label on it. We can call it the Uncool diet, since I'm the Uncool Trainer. And now you're following a diet, right? A slow, sustainable one that maybe you'll lose 10 pounds in 6 months. And who wants that, right? Like, we wanted to lose 10 pounds yesterday. But we also don't want to be in this same boat, like I said, talking about this again a year from now. Okay? So the Uncool diet that we're going to implement is these 5 strategies. 1, the smaller portions. 2, avoiding the extra licks and bites and sips of things. 3, reducing fat and not carbs. 4, stopping the weekend binging. And 5, hiring or recruiting someone to help you stay on point with these things. So take one of these ideas, just one, that's it, and double down on it. Make it your job to have smaller portions or only 1 serving of something, or make it your life's mission to seek out those fat sources and reduce them down, or really commit to not overly restricting yourself during the week so that you are not driven to eat everything on the weekends. But the idea here is to pick one and double down on it. And I guarantee you'll start losing weight if you're consistent. That's the other thing, is you have to be consistent with these basics. And eventually you will lose the weight, okay? So those are my 5 tips for you. 5 tips to lose weight without dieting. Throw away the scale, get back to me in 6 weeks and tell me how your clothes are feeling and which one of these things that you are implementing, okay? So you can also leave a comment for me and let me know which one you're gonna double down on, and I can't wait to hear how your progress goes. See you next time.